When I read this card, it inspired me to make this video, a celebration of the effort the Magic design team puts into translating an outside IP into interesting game pieces while maintaining the spirit of the original work. I don't know much about Transformers or Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy or Assassin's Creed, but I grew up on Avatar, watched it a million times. I've played Magic for almost as long, and if you'd indulge me, I'd love to point out my favorite depictions of this amazing show through the lens of thoughtful game design. And spoiler warning, if you haven't watched Avatar by now, I'm gonna kill my retention and highly recommend you stop here and give it a watch. It's one of the best shows you'll ever see. The walls of Ba Sing Se are nearly impenetrable. I say nearly because the Fire Nation did eventually manage to build a drill strong enough to get through the first layer, before getting destroyed by the Avatar gang. And only with the power of Sozin's Comet could Iroh, possibly the strongest firebender in the world, second only to his brother, blast a hole in the wall. The wall of Ba Sing Se is, understandably, a 0-30 wall. So long as it stands, your other permanents are safe. And while the 30 toughness is a bit of a silly stat line, it almost requires you to find another method to bring it down. Only 2 fully grown Emeralds are powerful enough to break this thing in a cage match. Within the walls, Zuko and Iroh find themselves laying low and running a tea shop. Iroh is the tea master. When he enters, he makes some tea, and when he serves you, he gains an ally. While this is a wonderful portrayal of Iroh's kind nature and delicious tea, we all know what kind of deck this actually breeds. Zuko, on the other hand, is made to do honest work. While being a tongue-in-cheek reference to the previously printed Witness Protection, naming the creature Humble Merchant, it also does a good job of addressing the firebending mechanic, forcing the creature to make colorless mana instead of affiliating with any particular color, or in this case, nation. Real quick, if you want to support us and get yourself a new playmat, consider heading to inkmats.com and checking out the designs we have there. Eve actually drew both of these, and if you use code CBJ at checkout, you can get 15% off your order. It's a cool way to support the channel and pick up some new swag from a company that really cares about quality. I'll leave a link in the description if you're curious, and now back to the video. Zuko has several portrayals that encompass his young, impulsive arc. Zuko, Exiled Prince, is the Zuko we meet in episode 1. He has a high firebending stat, but he uses that mana to fuel an impulse draw ability, another amazing reference to Magic's already existing lingo. But the flavor doesn't stop there. If we compare this uncommon Zuko to the uncommon Azula, we can glean even more information. The two share the same mana value and stat line, though Azula is black and Zuko is red, showcasing her truly corrupt personality. While Azula's firebending value is slightly smaller than Zuko's, she uses it to greater effect. Pure card draw allows her to save her resources for just the right moment, revealing nothing to the opponent and gaining a truer advantage. While these two cards seem evenly matched at a first glance, if the fight goes on long enough, Azula would ultimately come out on top, as we see time and time again in the show. Obsessive Pursuit shows us Zuko's hunt for the Avatar. At every turn, Zuko finds another clue to lead him to the whereabouts of Aang, and eventually these clues culminate in a sudden burst of pursuit that leaves him in a better position than he started, but never ending the chase. The life loss creates a sense of urgency that begs to be relieved by cracking the clues and buffing an attacker, forcing the player into Zuko's predicament. If you aren't aggressive, the pursuit will eventually take you. Zuko's hunt for the Avatar started from his exile, when Ozai scarred him in the Agni Kai and he was forced to find Aang to regain his honor. Ozai's cruelty, though simple, represents this tragic betrayal in perfect Magic terms. 3 mana sorcery that does 2 damage to a player. Not enough to kill them, just enough to leave a scar. But the real damage is psychological. Discarding 2 cards is a perfect analogy for the mental wound left by his father's inhumanity. And the fact that they made this a lesson makes it sting that much more. When Iroh teaches Zuko the secret of redirecting lightning, there's a vital step in the technique.
You must create a pathway from your fingertips, up your arm to your shoulder, then down into your stomach. From the stomach, you direct it up again and out the other arm. The stomach detour is critical. You must not let the lightning pass through your heart, where the damage could be deadly.
Not only is this shown in the spell by allowing you to pay the extra mana and redirect it properly, or take a shortcut and suffer the consequences, but this pairs perfectly with Zuko. When he attacks, the opponent could attempt to lightning strike his 3 toughness, in which case Zuko can spend his 3 firebending mana to redirect that lightning. just like he did when he visited his father on the day of Black Sun. Zuko's scar, the physical embodiment of his banishment, can be healed though. In the Season 2 finale, Katara offers to heal Zuko's scar with the special water she got from the Spirit Oasis, but later in that episode, he betrays her trust and teams up with Azula to strike Aang down with a lightning bolt. This water is said to be able to heal any wound, and we see its powerful properties in the card. When you cast Spirit Water Revival, you have two options. Pay 3 mana and draw 2 cards, representing bending with normal water, or water bend an additional 6 to draw a full 7 cards and have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Or, in other words, pulling out the Spirit Water and healing with that instead. The self-exile we commonly see in these kinds of resetting effects even has a flavor context. Once you use the Spirit Water, you can't use it again, and Zuko loses that opportunity forever. But of course Katara would use the water on Aang. They were, after all, caught kissing in the Cave of Two Lovers. Okay, terrible segue, I know, but this card is cool, so sue me. The Cave of Two Lovers tells the story of Oma and Shu, the first Earthbenders, and so the first chapter makes 2 allies. The 2 were lovers, tragically living in 2 separate war-torn villages, separated by a mountain, which is why the second chapter lets you search for a mountain, but if you notice, it can also grab a cave. Why? Well, in order to see each other, the 2 lovers learned earthbending from the Badger Moles, and built a secret tunnel they could use to meet.
Secret tunnel, through the mountain, secret tunnel, yeah!
Secret Tunnel is a cave that produces a colorless mana, and you can pay 4 to make 2 creatures that share a type unblockable. AKA, Oma and Shu can pass through the tunnel undetected. One day, Shu didn't come back. He died in the war between the villages, and Oma was so distraught she unleashed an overwhelming show of her earthbending power and declared the war over. Earthbend 3. Now really you could earthbend any land here and it would still be a good retelling of the story through mechanics, but as a little added bonus, Secret Tunnel is also unblockable, so after all is said and done you get a nice little 3/3 unblockable, which is pretty good value for a 4-mana saga. I just love how the design team incorporated 2 cards in tandem to tell a story. Sure, both cards can be played separately, but when they combine, they reveal a deeper second layer of storytelling. There's other stuff I wanted to get to, like the rise of Sozin and the depictions of spirits, but at the end of the day, it would be silly to point out every reference in a Universes Beyond set, so I'll just leave it to you guys. What is your favorite Universes Beyond card that you think is properly represented by the abilities printed on that card? And are you a fan of the Avatar set like me? Let us know in the comments, leave a like and all that jazz, and thanks for watching. While these 2 cards, 6-7. Okay,